In the last episode, we added our first operational expense and saw how it appeared on the expense dashboard. Now we are staying in the expense section, but we are moving to one of the most important parts of any financial model: salaries and the hiring plan. People are usually the biggest cost in the business, and this section is where you model exactly who you are hiring, when they start, how much they earn, and how that grows over time. To get here, you click on the Salaries tab at the top of the Expenses section, which gives you two views: a dashboard showing your current headline salary cost, and Team Overview, where you can see the full hiring plan broken down by department. Let's start on the Dashboard tab. At the top, you will immediately see two headline numbers: this month's salaries and this year's salaries. These two numbers give you a very fast answer to how much are people costing the business right now and how much will the team cost across the full year. Below that, you will see the hiring plan section. This automatically builds itself as you add team members, so you don't need to fill it in manually. It shows you how many people are being hired in each year, and it breaks them down into employees and contractors. This is incredibly useful when you are talking to investors because they want to understand when you are hiring and how that affects your cost over time. If we scroll down, we reach the cost overview section. Here you can see the total salary cost for each year across your entire team. If we switch to the team overview tab, we get a different perspective, but for now it's empty, so let's add a new team member to show how everything works. You can click either the Add New Team Member button at the top of the Salaries tab or use the Add Expenses dropdown from the main expense dashboard. Both will take you to the same salaries and wages form. On this page, the first step is to choose the position type. The dropdown gives you a full list of standard roles, from Chief Executive Officer and CFO to Chief Technology Officer and many others. You can also add any custom position directly in the dropdown if your role isn't listed. In our example, we'll select the Chief Financial Officer, CFO. Once you select a position, the rest of the forms appears. You give the person a personal name. Here we've used Michael Stan, and you confirm the department, which in this case is automatically set to finance because that's where a CFO typically sits. Then you choose the employment type, either employee or contractor. This distinction matters because employees typically comes with additional costs like employer taxes and contributions, while contractors are usually paid a fixed fee. Here, we've selected employee. Next, let's set the billing frequency. For most employees, this is monthly, and that's where we've selected here. Then you enter the start date, in this case June 2026, which tells the model exactly when this person's salary begins to appear in your costs. After that, you enter the cost per month, which is the monthly gross salary. Here, we've set £8,000 per month for the CFO. And finally, you can set a yearly salary increase, which represents an annual pay rise or adjustment for inflation. We've kept that default of 10%, which means the model will automatically increase the salary by 10% each year. That kept the forecast realistic rather than assuming the same cost year after year. At the bottom of the form, you will also see two optional checkboxes: add extra cost and add taxes and contributions. These are for things like employer national insurance contributions, pensions contributions, or any additional benefits that sits on top of the base salary. If you want the most accurate possible view of what a person actually costs the business, you can switch this on and fill in the details. Once you click Save, the system processes the new hire and takes you straight back to the salaries dashboard. You will see that this year's salaries total update immediately to reflect Michael Stan's salary starting from June 2026, and the hiring plan will now show one additional hire in year 1. The cost overview and monthly salaries chart will also update to include his salary, so you can immediately see the impact of adding this person to the plan. Let's see the planned expenses tab. Here you can see a summary of the total salaries cost by year, and below that a breakdown by department, for example finance, business development and marketing, each with their own 5-year salary totals. This view helps you understand how the cost of each part of the organization evolves over time and where the biggest salary commitment is. Switch back to the expenses main dashboard tab to see the full picture update. Remember, this is a central place for your expenses. It doesn't matter which tab or which section you use to add a cost, everything flows into this single view immediately. And as we can see now, the operational expenses include the cost of the CFO we just planned for. So in this episode, we've seen how the salaries section works as both planning tool and a financial output. You can add employees and contractors, define when they start, how much they earn, and how their salary grows. And the model builds the hiring plan and cost projections automatically. Those salary totals then feeds directly into the burn rate, runway, and the overall financial picture on the summary dashboard. So, in the next episode, we will complete the expenses picture by adding capital expenditure. Things like equipment and assets, so that alongside operational expenditure and salaries, you have a full view of what the business spends to operate and grow.